This is a Core DJ exclusive.
AKON! AKON! AKON, you got me in here sweating. I'm crying. I play all these records. Man, look, I'm like, what do I pick?
That motherfucking record right there, boy.
Man, that part. That's a hit.
So, hey, Con, you want to tell everybody? First of all, let me say this, y'all. Core DJs on the phone. Shout out to my brother AKON. Thank you for being on the call, fam. Taking this time off this tour that we had to, this promo tour we had to put together because of the shit that took off from the garage. Shit. We didn't. I'm gonna tell you something. I didn't expect it to go this quick. Yo, unmute your mic. Unmute your mic, Con. Can you hear? You on there, Con? Can you?
There you go.
I hear it now.
There you go.
There we go.
We didn't expect this to go that fast.
No. All this just happened organically, man. I was in Miami. I reached out to Tony. I said, "Yo, Tony, I'm about to drop a new project, but I don't want to drop it until I got your ear, you know." And I know you hear a million records a day, a million records a minute. Just tell me if you hear anything. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been out the game a long time, but I got confidence in my music. I just don't know if it's gonna work on this side. I just need to see what's going on because I ain't been in the scene for a long time, and you always been my ears to the street. So I played him the records. As soon as this record came on, he said, "Nigga, that's it." I said, "What?" Yeah,
I heard the nigga say, "Why have a life like mine when I can't take time to enjoy this shit?" I said, "That's it right there."
Right.
That's it. This shit is about you. If motherfuckers want to know what you've been doing, here it is, right here. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, man. So.
And in actuality, you know, we was here for shit like what kind about 4 hours? We was going through the.
Yeah, we was going through catalog. We was going through it. Now, the hardest part was figuring out what record to drop first.
Shit, man. The Afrobeat side, I didn't even go through that. The motherfucking pop album, of course, this thing got crazy. This shit is, the pop shit is up. But this, see, with him, before I go too far into that, I want you to just, for anybody that's been under a rock and don't know who the fuck AKON is for some reason, and history about you, why don't you tell them a few things before we go back into that?
Well, I mean, just to give y'all an example, like when I started music, I came into the music business, you know, as an African that didn't really have the sound that was relatable here in the United States. So the one thing I did have that was relatable though was my story. You know, everybody go through situations, you know, everybody go through a certain specific part of a struggle, and that's something that everybody can relate to. But one of the things that I always wanted to create was a sound that I would never have to worry about blending into. So we got to the position where we started creating our own sound. You know, so when we first came out, you know, we was doing R&B, but we was really singing about what rappers rapped about. So it became like R&B, you know, and then that became the industry standard. Then, you know, we jumped off of that and I introduced T-Pain with the auto-tune. And that introduced the game to the world. And that became what? The industry standard, you know? So then ultimately, as I was traveling with my successes in the hip hop side of things, as I was moving more in Europe, I started, you know, traveling to Europe and I started moving around with these DJs, and I signed this DJ who was doing house music named David Guetta. And at the time, he was just doing music that, you know, it was basic house music, but they would always get regular, you know, voices on there, like just singing on there. Nobody knew who this artist was. They would just be great voices from maybe some, you know, some heavy set chick in the booth with an amazing voice, and that becomes like the song. But then I was like, yo, sitting with him, I said, what if we just put A-list artists on there that people actually really know, instead of just an unknown person with a great voice, but actually somebody that they actually listen to as an A-list artist. And we tried it out. You know, we did a song called Sexy Bitch, and the song went over the moon, and that became the new model for what EDM is now, you know, grabbing known artists and putting them on, you know, dance music. And that now is the industry standard. And then after that, I went to the World Cup in 2010 in South Africa. And of course, I'm back home in Africa now, so I'm super excited by that. But I dropped off in Nigeria on my way out, and they had this thing, and there's a whole new local sound that was kind of bubbling within there. You know, nobody really understood what it was because it was so local. But the reason why it was so local because all the music instruments and everything was just so local. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the basic African instruments, basic African melodies. So we said, let's put some melody around it. That's more pop, give it a more commercial sound. And then we signed an artist named WizKid, who was young, super talented, you know, had the swag of the UK. And before you know it, we broke through him and signed more artists and started, you know, just kind of just grooming artists like Davido and artists like P Square and like the Band and all these guys. And now today is what you see as Afro pop, which is really Afrobeat, but it's really Afro pop, just influenced by Afrobeat. And that's now becoming the industry standard. So everything that we always did, we always try to be ahead of the game, try to be ahead of everything and try to create something that becomes a culture and becomes eventually industry standard. So, and that was always a fear of me coming into the market and not blending in with what's going there. And because of that, I wasn't getting either radio play or I wasn't getting spin from a DJs because they didn't know what to play before or after because it was just so different. So as a writer and as a producer, we started creating sounds. We started creating sound that I knew eventually I would either go into or sounds that I know is easy to implement myself into it if that day ever came where I needed to come back into the music business again, because, you know, I became one of those guys that just decided to build my legacy. There's not much I can, you know, really, you know, accomplish in music anymore. I've accomplished everything there is to accomplish.
AKON was one of the first artists, if not the first, but he was one of the first artists that came out as urban as possible, but the shit was pop. Right. Like it wasn't intended on being pop music. It was just his voice. You know, it wasn't intended to be. It was just music. It was just good music.
It was just good music. You know, and my tone.
When I was the A&R Convict, it was just a house full of good music, and it was all denominations. It was Jamaican, it was white, it was black. It was just like a whole melting pot of just good fucking music. Lady Gaga, Kobe Adonis, Cardinal Official, Money Man. Like it was just a whole collage. I mean, fucking
right, French Montana, Red Cafe, like
yeah, Cafe, fucking what's the writers, the Rock Nations, Our City. Like it was just a whole.
Yeah, Our City. Like when you go into writers and producers, I mean, we've probably birthed so many writers and producers up under our camp, and even artists that came out of the camp. I mean, from Young Thug all the way to K Camp to Rich Homie Quan, all these guys. These are all guys that came up under our camp that we started and launched them off into becoming whoever they are. But you know,
my first experience.
So you had an integral part in some of those artists too. Yeah. I didn't even realize that. That's huge.
Right. And before because these are things that we don't never announce.
Before you go into the questions,
these are things that we don't really announce.
That, I'm glad you said that. Speaking of, why don't you tell them? Because I got a call from somebody asking me about the clearance on this record.
So a lot of people don't know that when I first came into the business, I was part of the refugee camp. You know, I was a writer, producer, and an artist with the refugee camp. So, and a lot of people don't know that I was a part of even creating a lot of the earlier Fuji songs. You know, like writing all the way down to production, all the way down to performances. Like Cliff would always bring me out. Like this was a one big whole family, and people don't know even my background with even the original Ready or Not and all these other productions. But we had a part to do with all of that. So when he was like, "How we gonna clear it?" I said, "Don't even worry about it. This is easy. We own
it." Right.
I know the owner person.
Right.
Exactly. So everybody's raising their hands. I want to give people a chance. But one thing I wanted to ask you about, AKON, before we start getting into it, I know that you've got your own city about to be opened up. Is that coming near? And can you talk about that a little bit? Because to me, that just blows me away. Like that's huge.
Yeah,
everything that's all, you're doing in that.
Yeah, that's all a part of AKON Legacy Ventures. And what Legacy Ventures is it's a production development group that creates renewable cities, entertainment based. So everywhere in the world, we're building like AKON cities, starting in Senegal. And then after Senegal, well, in Africa first, because we got 5 countries in Africa where we're going to build it. But the first city is going to be in Senegal, West Africa, where I'm originally from. And ultimately, it's a 10-year build out, 10-year construction program, but it's going to be built out in 3 different phases. So by 2026, we'll be able to start hosting people to Senegal to be able to, you know, party, live, and vacate in AKON City.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Hats off to you. Salute to you for
They
that.
love,
Nah, for sure.
They love. I don't think like I'm like looking at everybody in the squares, everybody like chilling. I don't think they heard that you said he got a city.
A city.
I mean, who just casually, most of us have stocks and shoes and clothes and cars, but who can say, I got a city?
All right.
My city, not my store, not my city. I'm done. I'm done. Done.
Yeah.
I ain't think everybody heard the city part.
Yeah. No, it's an amazing thing. I mean, when I was kind of realizing what all you got going on, I was blown away. Like, and then to hear the kind of artists that you worked with and how much you've had a part of. I knew you had a part of, T-Pain and some of the most obvious ones, but I really didn't know like some of the huge ones that you've also been the integral part of. So definitely, we welcome you to the call.
Man, it's I'm telling you, if I sat here and made a list, I'm telling you, you'd be surprised. But like I said, we always did it for the culture, though. I never really did it to be recognized for it. Anything that I can do to help, bring a new artist up to the top of where he needs to be able to feed his family and become, something to change the community. I always was there for him, So I never looked for something back in return, because believe me, when I was trying to come up, it was hard to get basic support. So I never wanted a new artist that's struggling to have that same problem if I could be there to help them out. And that goes for even DJs. Like T will tell you, like when it comes, like DJs is like, to me, they're the holy grail of what we do. So they should always be in a position of power when it comes to the music industry, because without the DJs, none of this that we're doing, none of these lives is being, changed, and none of these families being fed would even happen. And I was having a conversation with some of the guys in Atlanta before. I mean, like the industry itself should have a fund set up just for retirement for DJs, because as much as they work, as much as they contribute to the culture, as much as they create stock and raise market share for these billion-dollar entertainment companies, there's nothing that's ever been set aside as a thank you, or even as something that allows them to take it to the next level and help continue growing more than anything, but give them their credit for building these multi-billion-dollar companies. Like, clearly, yeah, we make a huge role as a content creator, but the ones that spread the content out, that helps us promote it, that put the word out, that use their influence to help people, gravitate to us and become fans of ours. To me, that should be recognized. And I think even in the award shows, there should be award shows for people like that. Like, I just feel like there's not enough credit being put on the platform that you guys helped to build for us.
We can revisit that, me and you. I want to do it the right way. It was tried,
right.
But it was biased, so we can do it the right way. It was some bullshit.
Right.
And, it was.
It
was biased.
You said it's some bullshit.
It was biased as fuck. It was really based off of the award shows and shit that we have been doing for years.
Mm-hmm.
And but I guess a group of individuals felt like they were more important than every other DJ team, and it was really bogus as fuck. And a couple of years after, it really showed its hand, because it wasn't created by a DJ. I have a problem with people that don't understand being a real fucking DJ. As a matter of fact, I don't even intertwine all DJs together no more. I used to be on some like, at all DJs, but that's why I ain't jump out the window with that protest with that Wiz Khalifa shit, because I'm not gonna get together with a whole bunch of niggas sitting in the bedroom talking about some fucking protesting. And nigga, you ain't even doing nothing all month. Why the fuck would I be side to side with your ass on some protesting shit when you don't do nothing in the industry? Absolutely fucking nothing. And so I started learning how myself to start distinguishing what DJ was a real fucking a mover and shaker, and not niggas that's just highlighted because they got next to some nigga that's a big artist or something. Now I'm talking about real niggas. I'm talking about niggas on the grind. They ain't even got to be rich. They ain't got to be none of that. Just me recognizing this is a motherfucker that I want to stand next to when it come down to, not some motherfucker that forgot to open the motherfucking Dropbox, nigga. You know what I'm saying? There's certain shit like that I started learning the difference between that shit in 06 con and now. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
In 06, I was just running out there marching, helping DJ, the DJ. This now there's so much separatism. I can invite niggas to the retreat. You know, Con, as you know, you sponsored the retreat several times. And we said it wasn't for just the core, it was for all DJs, all you can say that shit till you fucking turn blue. But for some way, these motherfuckers gonna find a way to separate the community. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
So me,
but that's always been our biggest, issue though. I think as a culture, as people, we never ever grasp the concept of unity. And this is the reason why we are the ones that dominate the music industry and still we make the pennies. We are the ones that dominate the sports, and yet we make the pennies. We're the ones that dominate fashion and yet we're making the pennies. And even when you're talking about business, it's always the African American at the top of the chain making all the moves, marketing all the product, but yet they're the ones making the pennies. And that's only because as a crew, as a people, as a society, and when you look at us as a culture, we can't keep blaming our past for that because the present is now, and we know difference. Like we know what our past was, but we can't say that's the reason why we ain't working or coming together today. Like we got not only more resources today, but we got the freedom today and we got the money. If we put all our money together, we can build our own broadcasting systems, our own radio stations, our own everything, because we actually have the capacity to do it. We just don't want to do it because unfortunately we're in a crabs in the bucket mentality and we don't want to see our brother, man, or sister come up higher than you claim to be or what, not realizing that if one come up and if we're united, everybody comes up. Why do you think the Jewish people are the ones that they got the lowest the lowest population in the globe, but yet they run the world? Because they clearly stick together. They don't always get along. Yeah, of course not. But guess what? When it's time to do business, they're going to come together. And then guess what? The next day, they're probably going to do lunch or whatever the case may be with their families. But we're too emotional as people, and we take everything personal. And the one, then you hold something so long to the point where it's irrelevant anymore, and you're still holding on to it just because your ego was rubbed the wrong way or something like that. But we got to get past the emotional part and realize that coming together as a people together, we can get a lot further and we can control a lot more. And everything that y'all complained about, we can actually now be able to be, celebrating. If we can just come together and make it happen.
It'd be frustrating.
Before J-Love, before you jump into that, those questions real quick, I wanted to jump back. AKON, AKON, you're talking about talking so fast. That's the thing. I talk too fast. Sometimes people tell me to slow down. I talk too fast. But I have one of the artists that we actually had on the call. Like, when did we have Amira on the call, J-Love?
I want to say it was about when it was around the Atlanta retreat that we had Amira.
That's you talking about new artists and you putting in. Y'all heard that comedy music at the beginning of the song.
Absolutely. And just even to say a little further, I don't know if you guys that were on that call, but go find Amir, look her up, definitely support her. She's probably one of the most humble, sweetest people. Her and I still interact back and forth. Like we still, we'll chat back and forth in the page and everything. So definitely y'all show her some love and support her too, because she's really a dope person.
It was a good
and Move will definitely get the ladies on the dance floor. Trust me.
For sure.
That part, right.
For sure. But she goes back. She's one of those type of artists that actually give it back though. Like she ain't gonna be the one that y'all blow up and y'all can't get her to y'all birthday party or y'all annual events. Like we convict artists, as y'all know, we raise different. We don't move like everybody else. We really do appreciate everything y'all do for us. We acknowledge the fact that without y'all, there's no us. So T know, like this is why we're so close. He's never called me for anything and I never was there. I just never had a chance to build a relationship with everybody. But at the end of the day, through him, everybody can get served because as long as I'm in position to do it, I'm gonna make it happen. And all our artists are that way because I raised them that way. I grind them that way. We build them and we create, real superstars. Like the whole idea is to develop them so they understand the value of every piece that's being played. So that way, everybody can benefit from the success of this artist. You know what I mean? I want to be able to make sure that as we start talking about these things and y'all start meeting new artists, y'all also got to make sure that y'all feed them this information too, because half of the camps they coming under, they're not being taught how this works. They're not being, they don't understand the roles that everybody really play, and they don't understand the importance of the role even y'all play. You know what I mean? So I think as we school all these acts that come in, we educate them, we make them better understand it. You'd be surprised how much everybody can benefit just by basic education.
Absolutely. And I definitely want to. I want to get going on these questions, but one thing I want to say is hats off to you, and we appreciate you. I don't want it to let slide the fact that you are giving the DJs the props that you are. We appreciate that. It's refreshing and it's good to know. And I do feel some of these younger artists don't really get that part. So thank you for that, definitely.
Well, a lot of them also didn't come up under the regime of DJs. Most of them are, they're blowing up online just by going viral. So they don't think the DJs are that important. But then when they walk into the club, all of a sudden the DJ is important. You want to go to the booth and make them play your record. You understand what I'm saying? So they got to understand that, yes, there's other elements that helps you to get promoted, but the core of you going into that world is a DJ playing your record. And I don't care, even all the way down to playlisting. Most times it's a DJ curating that. It's probably the PD curating that. So it always falls back down to the DJ. No matter how much the technology moves to the next forward, that information is going to have to come from the DJs as to what's being played, how it's being played, and what is being played after.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, go ahead, Two-Tone.
Oh,
thank you for being patient. I apologize. I appreciate that. One other thing, will you please make sure as you guys ask your question that you let him know where you are coming from so he knows, because I know he already knows you, but just so he'll know who he's talking to.
Absolutely.
No doubt. What's up, King? It's your boy Two-Tone Superstar from Phoenix, Arizona. Big supporter of yours. I think you are a visionary. You had the vision to sign T-Pain, sign Lady Gaga, sign Wizkid. Amazing visionary. I know you had the opportunity to sign Drake at one point, but you didn't. Do you ever like sleep at night like, dang, I could almost had Drizzy on the convent?
No, I sleep at night knowing that I knew what that was before it was what it was. You understand? Like, I knew Drake was a fucking phenomenon. I knew that nigga was a superstar. I just couldn't afford him. Because by the time everybody got on him, they was offering them $1 million, $2 million, and I was at the 200,000-300,000 stage. And so my pockets wasn't big enough at that time. But I just thank God that he did get the props. He got the system he deserved, and he was able to really flourish to become the superstar that I always thought he was. You know what I mean?
That's what's up. And okay? I know you're a big boxing fan, big boxing supporter. I know you were supposed to go to the Teofimo Lopez fight. I don't know if you went there. I wanted to know who you got in a potential Terrence Bud Crawford versus Earl the Truth Spence fight.
Man, honestly, my ears and eyes ain't been on the fights recently. I've been so busy. I don't even know. Man, honestly, the only thing that I'm probably up to date on is those YouTube fights.
Oh, the Jake Pauls, okay.
The Paul brothers, man, they niggas be having me cracking up, and they got everybody fooled thinking they just YouTubers. Them niggas been fighting since they was kids. So don't play with them niggas, but they know what they doing now.
That's what's up, man. Appreciate you, kid. My dog.
No, absolutely.
Antonio, go ahead.
What's up, AKON? This is Antonio, the Colorado plug. Mad love, bro.
What's up, Antonio?
Hey, I know a lot of people in the community, in the Black community, may not know, but you dropped the album called El Negrito. Amazing Latin album. I play every song on that shit. When we gonna get another Latin album, man?
No, it's interesting you said that too, because I got the Best of Both Worlds album that's about to drop, where I'm blending Afrobeat artists and I'm mixing them with reggaeton artists. So it's gonna be like a collage. We call it Afro tone. So it's Afrobeat mixed with reggaeton artists. By the end of the year, we'll be announcing it for next year, like brand new release. I mean, I got all the top reggaeton artists mixed with all the top, Afrobeat artists. Man, it's gonna be crazy for sure. For international,
I was gonna tell you, man,
people that listen to more international music.
That put our communities really together, man. So I just want to shout out and appreciate you for looking out for the Brown brothers as well.
No, absolutely, man. We all in this together.
All right, Quest, you up next.
What's up, AKON? What's going on?
What up, Quest?
It's DJ Quest. I'm up in Fort Myers, Florida at 105.5 The Beat. I do the night show here, and I'm the mix show director. First thing I got to do is I got to put on my calendar that 2026 core DJ retreat in Africa in AKON City. I'm just putting that.
We definitely doing a retreat in AKON City. That's already in the books.
Okay. Another thing, one thing that us at the radio station here in Fort Myers kick ourselves. all the time. We always talk about this. I don't know if you remember this when you was with SRC. You came to our radio station. It was a little promo run, but the promo run wasn't for you. It was for an artist called Ricochet. Do y'all remember Ricochet?
Ricochet, I remember that. I remember
the song
Ricochet.
Coochie.
Coochie,
Yo, we thought
Coochie.
this nigga was going. We thought he was gonna blow, right? And AKON came to the station.
Call DJs.
AKON, you sat in the corner the whole time and just chilled. We paid you no mind at all, bruh. It was all about Ricochet. And years later, we were like, hold on, ain't that the same dude that came to the station? AKON, he was in the corner. And we was like, damn, we interviewed the wrong nigga. We interviewed the wrong person. We don't know where the hell Ricochet's at now. Why the hell did we not pay attention to AKON? I want to apologize to you for that, first of all, and let you know.
No apology necessary.
Till this day, we talk about that.
No, that's too funny though.
How important was it for you to sit back and watch though how things worked back then, when it wasn't about you?
Man, me, I just appreciated the fact that I was even in the conversation. Like even if it was an intro to know where it was, how things happened, just watching his interview helped me to understand how interviews was conducted and how things moved and how things roll. And I understood that I was new. Nobody knew who I was. I didn't expect people to know who I was and expect me to be important to you. I knew I had to earn that right. You know, that's why I sat back and just supported Ricochet. And he, we was label mates. I'm like, okay, cool. I can learn from this guy. And if he pops off, me and him got a relationship great enough to where I can do a feature with him in the future, and he can help expose me to his audience. So I always looked at it like, one hand washes the other, both hands wash the face. Let me just play my role, do my part, and then eventually, when it's God's time, everything will work out the way it's supposed to.
All right, last question. Last question. I said I'm from Fort Myers, Florida, right? And one of the biggest records to come out of the city was the version of "I Want to Love You" with Plies.
With Plies, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, we don't even play the Snoop version. Like only time we play the Snoop version is on the radio, but we still play that record in the clubs. How did that whole situation work with Plies and then Snoop? What's the story behind that record? Because I still don't know the actual story.
Well, okay, so at that time I was still writing and still producing, right? So originally though, I wrote and produced that record for Trick Daddy. That record was supposed to be for Trick Daddy. I sent the record to the slip and slide email for Trick to check it out. I don't know how it got to Plies.
I'll tell you how it happened.
Right. So what happened was, Plies snuck and grabbed the record before Trick got a chance to hear it, did the record, then leaked it out. So so before I know it, they was like, yo, Con, man, it's a record that you featured on the Florida that's killing the city, that killing the streets right now. I said, what are you talking about? I ain't put out no record. Man, I heard the record. I was like, oh shit. So at this point, I reached out to Trick, and Trick was hot and he was livid because the record was a monster, right? But at the same time, he couldn't really explain to me what happened. So I was like, okay.
Your phone, your mic. Okay, your mic.
Your mic muted. There you go.
Right. There you go. I said, I don't know if I could just let this record go, because this is a monster record. If Trick ain't gonna get it, I'm gonna keep this record for myself. So I was trying to get a hold of Plies, but I didn't, he was new. Nobody knew who he was, how to get a hold of him. So I said, yo, before this record in Florida reaches way to Atlanta, I need to put this record out ASAP. So I called Steve. I said, yo, Steve, I think we got a record that's bubbling right now. It's a new artist on it right now, but I want to swap him out, put Snoop Dogg on it, and we need to put this shit out like within the next 7 days. And sure enough, I sent the record to Snoop. Within 24 hours, he sent me back his verse. And within 7 days, the record was mixed, mastered, and we put it out.
That was fucking crazy.
but this the flash. So when it happened, obviously it kind of stopped Plies' version and it just limited to Florida. So I know Plies felt some kind of way, and I felt super bad, man. So I reached out to Plies. I said, look, Plies, it's a lot of music politics that went in the process of all this. I apologize I had to do that for you, but I got to survive. I need another record. But I got one. I got one that I'm gonna send to you to make up for it. Plies was like, man, look, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming at me like that. You didn't have to do that. And I said, don't even worry, I ain't gonna charge. I'm gonna give you another record. And that's when I wrote Hypnotize and sent it over to him. And then that's how me and him got to doing Hypnotize together.
Which is another monster out here.
which was another
That's
monster.
it. That's
Okay.
it. That's it.
And in case y'all don't know the song that Quest was talking about.
Ricochet.
Ricochet.
Cool DJ.
His name was Ricochet. This record was
That's funny.
Here we go, say.
We might want to revisit that.
I was about to say, I didn't even redo that record. That record was a monster. It was a smash. Listen, that record was a smash. No, it was a smash, especially for that time. It
That nigga just wasn't.
What it was is just
Exactly.
Ricochet's work ethic wasn't where it needed to be to get that where it was. And then I think a lot of people was complaining about his image at the time as well too. But that record itself, by standalone,
Yeah, his image was like, you see Big B doing it because he got stuck here in Wilmington for.
Yeah, that was a monster, boy.
That record is the reason why I was like, hey, fuck this nigga named AKON in the corner. Let's talk about this coochie record.
Right.
He got stuck here in Wilmington. He couldn't even get back.
Hey, no, listen, he was right. That record was I wanted that record because the record sounded so African. I said, man, this is supposed to be my record.
Yeah, it hurts my heart. I'm sorry.
That mic back on again like that Quest 2. Khan, tell him tell them before we go into the I see bands up there, mischievous Al. Tell them real quick about the the fucking belly dancer record situation, how that shit started out the gate.
Oh man, that record out the gate. So we walked in and I was like, okay, I want Locked Up to be my single. They was like, well, not so fast. Let's hear the single first. Let's hear the album first. So we played them the album and they hear Belly Dance. The whole building at Universal, like, oh my God, this is the record. This is the smash. Locked Up is cool, but this is the one. This is what we know how to push. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to come like that right now on my first record because they're going to expect the whole album to feel like that. And that's not what it is. So everybody discounted what we had to say. And then Belly Dance ended up being the single, right? And of course, T. Neal was the one like, nigga, this is it. This is it. when we went to Milwaukee,
for real, Connor just got home. I'm gonna keep it way funky. Fuck it. Let me just tell
Hey, hold on, T. Neal. Don't celebrate yet, T. Neal. Don't celebrate yet, T. Neal. Don't celebrate yet, nigga. You picked the record, the shit flopped. It flopped.
It was bullshit. Let me tell you what happened.
But to his credit, 20 years later, that shit became the biggest record on his TikTok. He said, I told y'all that was a hit record. I told y'all. I said, you're right, it's timing. It's all timing.
Well, they owed us some money. Stop. Shit. Goddamn. So look, man. They owed us some money for the retreat. That's what happened. The first retreat in Miami. And no, fuck that. Chicago. They owed us some money for the hotel to Chicago. And I didn't get it. You talking
about how me and you met at the very beginning?
Yeah, that's
okay. No, hold on. Let me tell that story. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Steve Ripken owed you some money. I remember Steve Ripken owed you some money. Because y'all niggas ain't got paid. I said, T, listen, I'm just the artist. I don't know what's going on between y'all and Steve. I don't know the background, whatever. I said, how much does he owe you? I forgot.
No, it wasn't shit.
Yeah, it was like what, 10,000 or something like that? Was it?
Hell no. Hell no, it was like fucking the principal. Like $500 or some old shit.
No, I want that shit. I want that shit, nigga. I gave you a brown paper bag. I said, I don't care what you got with this nigga. This is my debt from him. Me and you, my debt is cleared. But I deal with him how you need to deal with him.
It was some bullshit. It was some bullshit money, like, but it was just the fact that they didn't understand what the core DJs was at the time. We had just started that shit. We didn't even, it wasn't even called a retreat yet. We just had a meeting in Chicago. DM can attest to that. We just all went to Chicago and got together with Mary and just started this whole collab with how we was gonna start having this conference and shit. Wasn't even called the retreat yet. You know what I'm saying? And so, they was one of the sponsors. The Khan was coming home and he had this motherfucking belly dance record. I'm going crazy because at the time we was kind of ahead of the twerk scene, as everybody knows. Like you got the fuck Yin Yang Twins out at the time and all this shit. So here I am. I'm like, what the fuck is this belly dancer shit? This is the one. Oh shit. I'm going, oh shit. And then fucking Locked Up came out. Yeah, nah.
Changed everything. It changed everything. No, because while Universal was working Locked Up, we was in the streets working. I mean, while they was working belly dancing, we was in the streets in a mixtape circuit working Locked Up. I was like, man, this is the record. I'm telling you, this is the record. But after that, they never questioned me again. And it was interesting because I never picked the record without calling T-Nail first. Because I'm like, nigga, you a DJ. You know what's popping. Like, I know what I like, but you know what the people like, because this is what you do all day. So I would always call T and get his advice before I dropped the record.
And before that, we did the whole shit, the money man. It was so much shit that we was doing after that. Not for real though. My first A&R situation at Convict was Kobe Adonis. That wasn't even no urban record.
Kobe was the first, and Kobe was the biggest artist at that time. He was supposed to be the Justin Bieber, honestly. Unfortunately, his dad was overzealous and wanted to be an artist himself at one point and was living his life through Kobe. You know what I'm saying? And was making all the wrong decisions, man, and messed Kobe's whole career up. But Kobe was so big, man. We used to go into a Six Flags. We do all the theme parks, man. That place would be, I mean, like it'd be so packed with kids, man. It was like mania, like he was the Beatles. It didn't make no sense off of one record. That
nigga couldn't dance for shit, but
couldn't dance for nothing. Yeah. But could sing his ass off though, but he couldn't dance for nothing. He had two left legs.
And Khan had to go on stage with the nigga because he couldn't dance. Like Khan was
right.
Now, hey,
I can't dance with the shit either.
You believe at this point, Rihanna was opening for Kobe.
Right. Yep. Rihanna was opening for Kobe at that time.
Rihanna was opening for him.
That was my girl right there. Yeah. That was my girl. She was, and I knew she was gonna make it one day. So even when I went to Canada, I had her open up for me, and then she just slowly. Now she's doing her thing. She's killing it, man. I love how you watch people at a certain stage, and you just watch them grow to become just this larger than life figure, man. It's amazing.
That's dope. Well, okay, go ahead, Mischievous.
How you doing, man?
What up, she?
My name is Mischievous. I'm out of New Mexico, Latino gang. What's up, everybody?
Okay,
Hope everybody's having a blessed Thursday. So my question to you is, we know you worked with some of the most prolific people in the industry, from Gaga to Jeezy to, T-Pain. I want to know what's one of your standout collaborations and, what's your favorite?
What's interesting, man? It's hard to kind of like just pull one out because they all was impactful to me in some way, fashion, or one way or fashion. Like, but I would say the one that interested me the most, and the one that I hold dearest to my heart, is the one I did with Michael Jackson, Hold My Hand. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Maybe because it was my childhood dream to always work with Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? But if I had to pick a hip hop collaboration, it would probably be Soul Survivor, because that was the one where, I really understood my value in the music business, because at the time, Jeezy was clearly like nobody. So it really boosted my confidence to know that I can stand next to someone that nobody knew, and with one record, make him a household name. You know what I mean? So it was, but not only that, but he was such a good friend already. So it was almost like, it just felt good in every aspect of the way. You know what I mean? It was just one of those things where that record really stood out for me, because the urban market, as you guys know, is really hard to capture, man. It's like, once you got them, you got to keep them, because once they leave, they're not coming back. And if you do get them back, you have to do something as a miracle to get them back. Like, unfortunately, our culture, we just not as loyal as, most cultures when it comes to music. Like, we don't give too much. Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't really forgive. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where, you gotta, like, that's why urban is really hard to capture. And once you do got it, you gotta respect it to the point where you gotta really follow the system and stay as consistent as possible to hold on to them for as long as you possibly can. Whereas any other genre, you can kind of play around, try different things, move a different direction, change images out, reinvent yourself every once in a while, and they still follow you because they believe in you. Whereas urban, we more attached to the music than the artist himself. So that's the difference.
Definitely
well,
true.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And just real quick, I want to give you all the flowers. You've been a huge contribution to music. So yeah, man, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Queen Candy Vicious, go ahead.
Hello, AKON, Candy Vicious, Star Radar Radio, Arizona. First, I want to give you respects, King, your flowers. I know we're talking and you've been out of the game for a minute. You jumped back in just like you never left. And you know what I mean, you're dope.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate
always
that.
been dope. No, just thank you for your music and thank you like for all the stuff you've been contributing to. I read up a lot on you and I know like this day and age, marketing and all this all different. Everything's digital. It's not so physical any longer. I see you're working on your NFTs like with Stage 11, releasing your album, and was saying that I know some artists are like frowning away from this metaverse concerts and all that. Can we see you like in the metaverse in the future doing concerts and all that digital stuff?
Absolutely. Like I'm heavily invested into crypto and the blockchain and all the the future metaverse worlds and stuff like that. So I'm gonna be super active in all of that because when it comes to digital, I always wanted to be ahead of it because that's something you really can't shy away from. It is the future. So if you don't better understand it now, you're gonna be lost. Like you're gonna get left behind. So I always try to be ahead of it, understand it. Hang around a lot of programmers and coders just to get what this is and figure out how I can embrace that with my music or entertainment or anything else that I may have, whether it's philanthropy or business. So believe me, I'm gonna be a part of that in a big way in a minute for sure.
Okay, well, I definitely got to buy my goggles, my Oculus. I'll be waiting for an AKON concert on the
Right.
All right, blessed.
No doubt.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead, Vince. Let them know where you're from.
Yo, y'all hear me?
Yep.
Hear you.
Yo, man, what's popping, man? We met.
What's going on, man?
Dylan, man, grinding. DJ Benz, 90.7 FM, and I DJ the biggest strip club in Arizona, Jaguars. Super Bowl season. You already know what it is.
Absolutely.
Two questions, two quick questions. My cousins and I are seriously contemplating on getting land in Africa.
Don't stop contemplating, just do it. Listen,
What's
let me explain the X in real estate over there. If you buy land here today, by next year, it's already 10x. It's worth 10 times more than what you spent for it. Like, don't waste no time when it comes to buying land or investing in Africa. It's literally the future. There's nowhere else left to build or expand on in anywhere in the world no more. Africa's the only place. And then everybody else is trying to convert back into renewable, whether it's resources or energy. And all those products and all that resource is going to come from Africa anyway. So when you're talking about investment, you're not going to go wrong. You're not going to go wrong. I promise you. That's probably going to be the best decision you ever made. The AKON City land, I bought that back in 2005. And mind you, I bought it at $500 an acre. That's 2,000 acres I bought at $500 an acre right on the beach, the beachfront. Today, that same property is worth $500,000 an acre. And that's 2,000 acres. So do the math on how much that land is worth.
Oh.
$500,000 an acre. And I bought it at $500 an acre. No, it's no joke, bro. I'm telling you, do not even think about it. Just do it. I promise you in the future, you're going to thank yourself for doing something.
What are the X's and O's? Like, what's the process like? Like, do I got to get citizenship or?
No, you just get on a plane and go and buy it. Like how if you want land in Mexico, you just get on a plane and go and buy some land in Tulum. Like, it's that simple. It's not even hard. The problem is we have, as a people, man, I don't know what it is about Africa, but I blame the history because they scared us into going back home. Like, they find every reason to give you not to go back and scare you on, okay, there's diseases, there's AIDS, there's viruses, there's wars. They'll tell you everything in their mom. They tell you, right. And then when you think of Africa, you just start shaking. You don't even know why you're afraid because everything has been built to keep you away from Africa because African Americans have so much value in America that if one day y'all just ship up and walk away and leave, I mean, America will collapse. They won't even be able to recover. It'll be impossible. So I can understand why, but you got to take it upon yourself to say, okay, if I get vacation time and I decide to go to Hawaii or if I decide to go to, anywhere in the world, because everybody go everywhere in the world. I mean, when I'm talking about African Americans, y'all go anywhere in the world, but nobody goes to Africa. So I think you should just take the time to fly out. And people don't really know that if you go from New York to Senegal, where I'm from, it's only a 6.5 hour flight, literally the same distance from New York to LA. You know? it's that close. Like it's literally that close if you fly from New York, direct flight. You know, just
Well,
take a weekend. Take a weekend. It's only gonna cost you about $800. You know, maybe sometime less depending on the season. Just go take a look. And I promise you, bro, it's gonna be the best weekend you ever spent.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And
Yep.
How long is the flight from Miami?
From Miami, you got to fly into New York or to DC, and then it's a direct flight. So you add the flight, the 6.5 hours plus the hour and a half from Miami or 2 hours from Miami, depending on where you're going. So, but you won't spend no more than 8 hours on a plane, though. That's for sure.
oh, that's what's up. And how
Yep.
did you find Cardinal out, man?
Man, Cardi, man. Honestly, I was a fan of Cardi when I signed him. Cardi was the one that was telling me about Drake at the time because I would hear so much music, and I'm like, man, Canada, there's something in the water. These kids out here are amazing. And he was like, yeah, if you think I'm dope, wait till you hear this dude Drake. He's new. His mixtapes is crazy out here. And that's how, but it was Cardi, and Cardi was like more Canadian Jamaican. So I was in the dance hall heavy at the time. And Cardi was killing the streets, bro. Like I was like, I gotta sign this nigga. I gotta find him. And so enough, I was able to, track him down. As soon as we met, man, we just clicked instantly, man. Within the month, we had a record out. And then we was on the tour bus during the Gwen Stefani when we did the record Dangerous. Then we went to the studio to kind of play around with it, mix it. And I think that was around the time when actually Tony Neal was in the studio with us. And matter of fact, it was Tony that picked that single. Again.
It was some humbug shit, though. I'm gonna keep it funky. Yeah. I was sitting there and the shit was bam, 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 bam. But Khan had already had the record. What's that little keyboard you had? That little red keyboard, Khan, the little red one that you traveled around with. What was that shit?
Yeah, that was a Casio. That was a Casio computer. Casio keyboard.
He had this already.
You can fold it. It was a foldable one.
I'm still on the fucking phone with this bullshit and I hear it. We had a lot of records from Cardi, but we ain't had a record. I said,
we ain't had a record, right? We ain't had a record.
Just get that nigga that record. Just like that, like.
Yeah.
Yo, here's a question. They say, what part of Africa you suggest?
If I would suggest Senegal, mainly because it's very close. Number one. Number two, it's never had any kind of conflicts, any kind of major, diseases or plagues or anything of that nature. It's a very spiritual, like environment there. The people are super, super friendly. The food is the most amazing food you're gonna taste. So majority of the cuisines that people come from Paris and it's all from Senegal recipes, all the way down to jollof rice that everybody talking about. That's a Senegalese recipe. It was made and originally, created by the Senegalese. So the food is amazing, and we're not even gonna talk about the women. If you like different shades of women, different heights, I mean, you're gonna see women that are so beautiful, man. You're gonna be, I mean, you're not even gonna want to come home. But the environment itself, the fruits is so sweet. It's like, just if you listen to Mama Africa, I'm talking about Senegal, literally. It's just, the place is just unbelievably beautiful, man. And and when you're talking about a cost of living and you can go there with $1,000 and that'll last you literally your whole vacation. That's how affordable it is. And you're gonna get quality stuff, quality food, quality partying. The clubs there are banging. It's very civilized. So you're not gonna go there and expect to see African jungles or anything like that. You would have to drive out about 2.5, maybe 3 hours out if you want to do like a safari with the lions and stuff like that. But for the most part, the city is pretty current. You know what I'm saying? You would like it.
Yo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, go ahead. Listen,
definitely.
Yeah, go ahead. You about to say the same thing. Go ahead, Grove.
We got 5 more questions that we're going to do, and then because I don't want to just overstay our welcome. Go ahead, Howard Grove.
I'm AKON DJ Holly Grove from New Orleans, Louisiana, and Houston, Vice President of the Chop Stars. So
what's up, Holly Grove?
Calling. So 2 quick questions. Innovator, you know what I'm saying? How does it feel to be associated with that word and know that you've helped change the game and bring a lot of different integral parts and big artists into the game?
You know what, man? It feels good just being recognized as that. But at the time, as I was doing it, or as I am doing it now, I don't see it. I never saw it like that. I just saw it as me just doing my part for the culture. Doing whatever I could to advance either music or artists or DJs or the community that we're in as far as what we are doing. But the innovating aspect of it, that's just always me just having a great idea and figuring out how can I execute it? Or how can I implement this idea? And who can I utilize that can help me get the information that I need to make it happen? You know, so that's just a natural instinct that just naturally came from me. But I always did it not really expecting to be recognized for it or expecting anything back in return. I just wanted to be an asset and value to whoever I touched at the end of the day, you know?
That's real. That's real. And the second one is going to be quick. It's kind of a two-part question. Do you realize how important you are to the Black marching band community? And then also, have you listened to like Southern University, Texas Southern, Grambling play your songs? Because if you don't know, we play a lot of your music. Like I marched from 2003 to 2007 at Texas Southern University, Ocean of Soul, and we played a lot. Like your first 4 or 5 singles, we played it.
Man, I had no idea. I gotta experience that, man.
Go put in some of your singles in marching band.
Right.
After it on YouTube and go and listen.
No, I'm gonna definitely do that tonight. That's for sure. That's super interesting. I didn't know that. That's dope. That's super dope.
Big Al, go ahead.
AKON, what up, man? Salute,
what's up,
King?
Big Time?
What's up? I gotta give the AKON story. So I made this record for Big Crit and B.O.B. called I Am Somebody. And we got Jesse Jackson to clear the sample on the hook. And Greg called me on the phone. And I said, nah, man. I said, we need somebody like AKON on this motherfucker. Like, he gotta be. So he called me back and he said, check your email. And I had tears in my eyes, man. Yo.
Oh, Al, you muted yourself, hon.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll run back through the story. So Greg Street calls me on the phone. He said, yo, check your email. I checked the email. AKON blessed the track. The hook is incredible. Then we were in Atlanta. I told Tony Neal, I said, yo, I made this record, but I never met him. And Tony said, come here. So Tony introduced me to you in Atlanta. All I want to say is salute, and I want to make another record, bro.
I'm mute.
AKON, you're muted now. AKON, unmute yourself. There you go.
No, I would love to, man, because that record was a smash. That record was a smash, man. No, we gotta do another one for the culture. We have to.
All right, there it is. I'm gonna get the record ready. I'm gonna
let's go.
Tony. He'll make it happen.
Absolutely.
T-Max, go ahead.
Salute.
My man.
Yo, y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
My bad, I'm driving in the dark, man. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is DJ T-Max, Kid Core DJs. I'm out of Des Moines, Iowa. I don't know if you remember, but Tony was the one that introduced us when we was in Atlanta. He said, I got a DJ out of Iowa. He's like, man, where you find this dude at?
Yeah. I remember.
Hell yeah, but man, I just wanted to
like,
jump
Iowa,
off, say hello.
We're out in Iowa.
Shit, he made it happen. But I just want to say thank you for giving me that moment, man. You got NBA niggas coming up to me saying, hey, you met AKON. I got to get a picture with you now. So you definitely gave me a lot of clout up here, man. And I definitely appreciate you just being humble enough to just take that time out of your day to do that for me, man.
No, that's what's up, bro. Pleasure, man. Thank you.
Passion, go ahead, Passion.
What's up, AKON? Your girl DJ Passion.
What up, Passion?
From Dallas, Texas. First of all, I have been the middle of the mall DJ for over 13 years and couldn't have done it without all the tracks. Because of course I came in at the time of where you can't play hip hop in the mall.
Right.
Remember?
Right.
People
I remember that.
I was like, that's impossible. How you can't tell me I can't play a Billboard record.
Right.
Even if it's T-Pain, it could be AKON, it don't matter. This whole mall is gonna stop. And they're gonna stop, they're gonna do something. So I want to give you big props on that. I love listening to everything. I didn't realize how great a producer you were as well.
No, I appreciate that.
So it is hard starting from the bottom. I also want to give big props to going ahead and mixing those Afro beats with reggaeton. If I DJ a set for 7 hours, it can all be reggaeton and Afro beats, and that mall will love me, but I will include Punjabi. I will make it worldwide. You know,
what you know about Punjabi? What you know about Punjabi?
It's the drums, the Arabic
See, you know
drum.
what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the Arabic drum. The thing is, I'm more cultural. I grew up in a Puerto Rican, Panamanian, Jamaican household.
Right.
In Alabama. So, you know, people didn't understand. And I'm very culturally aware of music. We couldn't even, my grandfather didn't like us listening to rap. It was always salsa, reggaeton, and, you know, merengue.
Got you.
So those sounds, those songs, everything is still to this day the same. Nothing really has really changed. But my main thing was, aside of production, what do you think about the NFT world?
Right. So the NFT is fairly pretty new, right? Everybody's still trying to get a hold of it, better understanding how it works. And it's just a new form of monetizing, you know, content really, right? So at the end of the day, it started with just basic art, you know, but now it's going into music, it's going into film, you know, so the technology is growing, is maturing a lot more as things go in, but it is something that you want to get to learn more about, you know, like these NFT drops is now, I mean, the reason why they're going so much and they're so high, because there's a limited amount of supply of it, right? But the moment when everybody is a grass to it and everybody starts to become more intrigued and engaging, then the prices are not only going to go down, but the excitement for it will become the norm. And it'll be a new way of just kind of monetizing your particular, your own personal, you know, content that you might have created. Because you got to think of it, like I remember back when we was doing music and people used to always be afraid to put music out unless somebody hears something that was not copywritten. You know what I mean? So you'll be afraid that they're going to take your music, or artists may be afraid if they don't sign at the bottom of, you know, all their paintings, another artist may come and take their work or whatever. Well, with NFTs is a little different because there's a lot of security mechanisms that's digital that protects that. Like no matter how many times people share it, your footprint goes with it. You know what I mean? No many times people buy it, you know, auction it or exchange it, you know, your footprint continues to go with it and you continue to make royalties off of it constantly. So it's really to protect the content maker and the content owner, you know, at the end of the day. So I think it's going to be the future of what everything is happening, what everything is happening. But as you start learning more about it, you start collecting more NFTs, and everything that you collect that you actually earn, as it being shared, as it's being shown, as it's being monetized, you're going to always get your cut. So don't shy away from it. Get into it now, collect as many as you possibly can. So when the future comes, these, you know, it's like almost like baseball cards. Like back when baseball cards used to become, you know, the less there was out there, the more they was worth. Right? You know what I mean? So look at it that way. It's better to understand it when you look at it from the standpoint of collecting baseball cards. That's the best way to explain it at this stage where it's at today.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm very big on those things. I'm gonna go ahead and get off in 2 seconds, but I'm very big on the baseball cards and everything like that. I'm gonna get more into the web development, the solidity of the contracts, and we're gonna go from there. But
the smart contracts is everything.
Yeah, I appreciate you for the heads up.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, before I give it back to Midday, OCHE Bridgeford, I can't put you on without your camera on, but you can go ahead and ask your question still.
Oh, okay. My bad. I didn't know. Yo, AKON. So with AKON City, I haven't heard anything about it in the last couple of years. I know that you expanded to Uganda and got some land there. I'm in the last year of grad school doing real estate at Georgetown. I'm very interested in building safe communities for Black people around the world, and that fits right within the vision of AKON City. How can I get involved with AKON City?
Man, make sure you connect with T-Nail before, you know, this week is out, so maybe you can connect, because I'm looking for more people like you that we can be able to bring into projects like this, because we're gonna need a lot more personnel, but I want more African Americans involved in Africa anyway. So if you got the right accolades, and you know, if you're doing anything in a you know, the legal field of real estate, or anything in the development side of the field or architecture side, I'm looking for all of that, because like I said, Senegal is just one out of 5 that we already signed LOIs to do these cities in. And that's actually in process. So within the last 2 years, outside of the year that we lost in COVID, you know, we've been doing the feasibility studies, the environmental studies, you know, land studies, and all the studies that it takes to be able to build 100-foot, you know, high rise on a building. You know, there's all these variables that come with it, amount of weight that thing gonna hold, make sure it don't sink in the ground or sinkholes under the ground, or, you know, and it's right by the water. So, you know, the density in the sand itself can be soft, it can be hard, depending whether it's rock. Like it's a lot of stuff that you have to look into for safety and for purpose of infrastructure. If that land could even hold that kind of weight. So all this stuff was being, done, and we're at a point now where we just closed everything out. I also partnered with Dream Hotel, the Dream Hotel Group, and they're coming on board to build the first hotel actually on the site. You know what I mean? So we're doing, minor, just collaborations and stuff with all these other different companies. But ultimately, this is a good time for you to come in now, because now we have roles of people like you in it. So definitely reach out to T, and he'll make sure that me and you get connected for sure.
That appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Yep.
Midday, go ahead, sis.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, AKON, for
Thank
being
you.
on the call. Generally,
Yeah,
I
man, this is
always
amazing.
ask the fun questions, but I just want to ask you this one question. We all know that the African cuisine is amazing. I'm going to
Yes.
ask you a question about breakfast, AKON. Do you eat breakfast?
You know what? I often skip breakfast. I ain't even gonna lie to
You
you. But
do?
yes, but what's crazy is breakfast is my favorite food though, because I can eat it any time of the day. I just don't eat it in
Do
the
you
morning.
eat grits?
I love grits, but I like it sweet though, with sugar, buttermilk.
Yes.
I gotta eat it like hot cereal. Like I gotta put butter in there and sugar. You know
Go
what I'm
ahead and
saying?
hit him with it. Man. Hit him with it, man.
You gotta do it, Midday. You gotta do it.
Please, Midday.
That's how I eat the grits. That's how I eat my grits.
AKON,
I can't eat it salty with fish and all that. I can't. I eat it the African way.
So you put sugar in your grit?
I put butter, sugar, and buttermilk or regular milk, depending.
AKON, did you not know this?
Sure as I'm John P. Key. If you need some sugar, oh, you need some cream of wheat. Hey, somebody go tell Kev on stage. Fred Hammond, you know better. What they wrote on the box was a trick. Because sugar just don't go. Sugar don't go. Hey, sugar don't go. I'm not real.
It just don't, AKON.
But that's what I'm saying. I use the same recipe on my grits and my cream of wheat. I eat cream of wheat and grits the same way.
He said that shit right out the gate.
But that is hilarious, though. That's
I thought
hilarious.
it was gonna be like straight African. You know what? Nah, we eat it. We eat like it, because we know what it's made out of, right?
Hey, God, she was expecting you to take it straight off the branch, nigga.
Right. And just grind it up and eat it. He was like, "Nah, I put some shit."
No, nothing.
That is so
not
funny.
cooked or nothing, nigga. Straight off the fucking tree, nigga. Like,
Oh man, y'all
goodness.
crazy. Y'all crazy.
Call DJs, call DJs, call DJs, call DJs, call DJs, call DJs.